All right, welcome back. I am back in the studio. I had a quick break for lunch. Welcome again to Asylum Atelier. Today, second time or part two, because there's after all the um, preparation for the exams, the practical exams for students of from first year to fifth year. Everything's settled down finally. Nobody's here. School is going to be quiet for today, for the rest of today, and for tomorrow. And then Monday it starts all over again. Different students. It's going to be different exams, but the main portion of the exhibition is done. People are some of the students taking off the paintings already. Some of them leaving it there because it's just school is already closed for public right now. It's only for students again. So I had the chance to actually return and continue working because there are no other distractions today. So yeah, I'm going to continue working on that diploma painting. There are some things that I need to address. I mentioned that previously in the stream earlier today. I have to definitely place this figure right here, right now, and that's gonna give me. Let me just turn it this way because I think this is a less reflection right now there. Yeah. So that's gonna give me the last piece of puzzle that I need right now to continue. And then again, if there's something that I don't like or dislike or needs to be adjusted, I can again then start repainting it. I still feel and think that I should probably add another figures down here, maybe even lower, somewhere around here, because that's something that would actually move that that direction as well. I just don't want it to be repetitive with these patterns that I have here and here and then here again. So I have to be careful with that. Also, what I saw when I entered at a studio again are these compositional alignments that kind of create that kind of a unwanted symmetry. And check this out. Right now I have this sky copying this right here. It's the same value, and right now these are fighting not for attention, but what's in front of another. So I don't have the depth of field. Plus it's creating this kind of a shape right here, and then I have another shape right here which I don't like. So this has to be changed. And it happens, the clear, it wasn't as clear previously because there was a lot of distraction in that overall shape. So this is very important. I wouldn't even call it a lesson. I don't think it's a lesson. It has nothing to do with, I'm not really lecturing about anything, but this is something that should be a red flag for, well, no, let me even rephrase it even better. Not even a red flag. This is the checklist that I have to go through myself every time, no matter how much time I put into this, no matter how much experience I think I have, I still need to tell myself that, oh, you have to simplify the shapes in order to see these large compositional, and I wouldn't call them mistakes, but large compositional tangents. Yeah, tangents would be the word. So, and right now it's clear as a day, and maybe you didn't, well, not you, I wouldn't be able to catch it if these things, the part of the clouds were so disconnected, because instead of my eye focusing on the strong diagonal shape, I was mixed right here, jumbled around here, and I felt that the problem, it's the emptiness or the randomness of this. and I was not really paying attention to these edges right here. And I adjusted it a little bit so it changed, right? But still, the main thought and the main idea definitely was there. So that's something that I have to work on. That's the reason why I always refer back to my original thought, which would be that abstract shapes, right? And I want to keep the diagonal, but I don't want to have something like this right here going that direction. And then also this repeats itself here, right? Which is kind of a weird feeling. And the size of this volume, or the square footage, right, is the same than this. So it's just all fighting for attention. And I want it to be clear that these are different elements. So there are multiple things that I have to do. But I see it right now. I know it's there. But before going into it, I want to address other problems with the composition, and not the problems. I want to make sure that I have this figure placed here the way that looks not only pleasing aesthetically, but also works together with that environment. I also could potentially place another figure right here, or perhaps here behind him. I'm not sure which way would be better. Right now, I still haven't decided yet. Perhaps I could actually press another icon behind him right here to push that. Right here, and then the figure here, so that I would change that a little bit. But the problem is, I really think that the problem is that I have here is that I have this figure and this figure here, and they're not overlapping each other, they're next to each other. So that's creating that kind of a lack of that sense of a distance. There is nothing that shows the difference between them. Perhaps I could actually maybe put him closer to these figures to make him, disappear a little bit more on this side, so he connects with this shape, and this guy is going to be pushed forward. That might actually be one of the solutions to make it pushed back a little bit. But then I'm afraid of making, not even afraid, I have to check if that's going to work. So they're not going to be divided into thirds again there. So let me see what I can do about that. But that's another stage, because it's not as crucial as this figure right here, because that's going to determine whether or not the whole composition. Right now, that's the weakest link, I think. So let me just go and start working on that. That's going to be my main focus right now. Have I not taken a separate picture of panel A and panel, or left panel and right panel? Well, this is just me. Perfect example. Never mind. Yeah. I would really like to know what is the main what is the main? Which one of the sketches I used for that particular figure? I know that it was a combination of sculpture and my own hands with some different costumes, but right now I can't really. Where are you? I think I left it at home on the computer. Okay, well that's not cool. That's not cool. So it was composition. It was the right side of the composition, and it was kind of a. I remember we talked about him being a menacing figure, or like not menacing, more like a more mysterious. That's what I'm looking for. I'm sorry. I'm just gotcha. Yeah, it's interesting. Some of these are really close. Some of these are really low. Some of these are high. I'm talking about the icons. So there is not a one specific way how to display it. It doesn't really matter. It's just it's multiple ways. Usually they hold them in front of their heads, but that's in kind of that organized. It's just more like a performance on the short distance. But this is not that kind of not that kind of a moment. So I'm okay if I put them left and right, up and down. That's not. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Yeah, so let's see if I can use this as my guide. I also clean up my palette as you might have seen. So I'm really following. I'm not telling you to do something that I don't do myself. And the reason why I clean my palette is because I want to work with clean pigments. I'm going to use a red as my adjustment. So, and the reason why I want to use red is because I really want to I don't want to do an outline. I just clean up mine too, trying to paint feathers on an owl. Well. Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's something that it's my biggest fear. Animals. That's why I don't paint them that often. But it's good to hear from you that you are willing to push that. And the cleaning a palette, it's always a good thing because really, truly, I believe that it helps to keep the pigments fresh. Especially if you're a messy painter, as I am. As messy as I am. Let me also add a little bit of charcoal here. Maybe I could do a little dip there for the shoulder. I remember I had a dip there for shoulder, and there was a darker value here. Let me paint a little bit of a shadow. This could be a shadow right here. Yep. I think that might work. And up here, here, maybe even lower. They could lower that shadow. A little cooler. Have to be careful with the size so I don't make him a little too big. And maybe this could go, actually I could improvise this side a little bit. Yeah, maybe I could cut it here. Yeah, to make it slightly smaller. this here is going to be that opening. So this can go darker, and then I could put a slightly different value for that half tone. This might be a little too cool, but that's okay because I'm going into that distance a little bit. So as they recede into the background, they're getting the okay, and then next step is going to be a little lighter and warmer. So I get that warm and cool. This could go. Slightly cooler, it's just too, it's too purpley. To my taste. Okay, then we have the bottom part of the hoodie that goes this way. Let me soften that a little bit, because again, another thing is that I don't want to it's any of the hard edges there. Maybe just a touch of warmth. It seems a little too out of a place, cool. Yeah, it's better. And when I said out of the place, I mean it was not really harmonizing that well with another pigments. You know, sometimes that happens that you're painting and then you realize that even though that everything kind of looks okay, it's just something, it almost feels like it's weird. And it's usually, in my case, it's usually because the color harmony doesn't work. So, and when I say weird, I mean it feels like the figures they don't communicate with each other, so they don't belong to the same environment. Usually it's because of the color harmonies. And you can see that right now, if I put this figure next to this one, they wouldn't talk to each other because they feel like they are misharmonized. But if I'm visually progressing through them, they are linked this way. So that's why it's so important to have always the pigments next to each other, right? So when I'm painting, I'm trying to always make, the pigments touch each other, so there are no gaps in between them. And the reason why I don't want gaps, because all these adjustments are based on surrounding pigments, right? When you look on, again, when you look at this figure and quickly jump with your eyes on your focus here, and you're going to jump back and forth, they're not going to belong to each other. But then if you stop doing that and just look on the focal point, they're kind of going to connect with each other. I can always, and the reason why it works because of the surrounding environment. The moment I would start pushing a little bit more redness of this area right here, he would immediately look way too green. He's way too green right now as well, but it doesn't matter because it's surrounded by blueness. And if I push him into the blue, he would kind of merge with the background, and I don't want him to merge with the background. That's why I'm using a green. The other way around, I'm making him a little bit bluer because he's surrounded more by green, right? And it's progressing into the redness right there. It might not be the right choice, but I have to put it there in order for me to see whether or not it works, that color harmony. Because I don't paint by number, that means I did not pre-arrange the pigments, I did not pre-mix them. I always remixing everything. That's why I scrape my palette and clean my palette, because I want a fresh color. I don't want that repetition there at all. It actually bothers me, because then I tend to paint everything the same way. And that's not how it looks in the real life. That's why sometimes when I look on my my older paintings, they look stale. I think that's, oops. God, I got scared. My pointy stick. Like I said, that's why I feel this sometimes. When I look at my older paintings, even right now when I'm looking on some of my actual paintings, I see that staleness there, and that's why I'm so, you might almost say like specific about these adjustments, because I see how extremely they bothered me, and I didn't know. Stick jump scare. Yeah, I really just, it was behind me. And the fact is that this is like the floor, it's wooden, and it moves whenever I step. You can also probably see it with the camera that it always moves when I move, because as I'm stepping, things are just pushing and pressing one on another. Sometimes it squeaks. Okay, I think that's gonna work. I just need to adjust his silhouette a little bit so he doesn't look like a, maybe he can stay that way. It's a little bit more interesting. I like I said, I really enjoy that kind of a caricature feel to figures that they are not as developed, because they're in the distance. You have to attract the viewer's eye with something else, and usually kind of a weird silhouette, it's something that helps. Not always, not always. So I could push this right here a little bit more and create a crease right here. And he could be holding that. Right there, and maybe I could actually push it lower there. I don't see why not. That would kind of give me that angle that I am kind of looking for. What did I do with my own painting? How did I? Yeah, it was dark, dark, light, dark. Okay, dark, dark, light, dark, and it was this curvature here. So let me hit it there. Same way. So it was this way, and then it went in, like so. Maybe it could be. Need more pigment. Nice, and a little bit of warmth into it. Maybe a little bit more. Okay. Yeah, maybe he could be slightly slimmer. Or not? No, maybe not. Maybe he's okay. Maybe he's okay. I just need to do a little adjustment on the background. Let me just clean up the brush a little bit. So what I'm going to paint right now, instead of painting him or this, I'm going to paint a negative shape right here. So I'm going to look for, remember I talked about this oh my God, for forever probably. Maybe a little less saturation, so let's go with this. Well, I'm almost where I want to be. I want to make him slightly slimmer. And I want him to go that direction, so I'm going to cut it right here in a little bit. Yeah. And this is another important part, is that I'm going to get him into position. I'm going to give him a little bit more information. This needs to start, go a little bit more into development, which I really need to start working on, right? Because that's just an empty shape there, which is not bad, but it still needs to be an empty one whole shape, the same as a sky, but it needs to have a little bit more like show the anatomy, where the break for the knee is, and start bringing the texture a little bit more forward towards us, which is going to be a really important part for making sure that I have, again, that richness that I talked about at the beginning, or in the stream earlier today. Let me just soften this a little bit with a slightly less saturated value. Might be a little too dark, maybe it should go lighter as it recedes into background. So let's maybe lighten it up a little bit. Just a touch of right? So it has a little bit more of that. So it's not the same from one side to another. I have a little notch there, it goes behind, there's a little bit of a shadow there. Maybe I could drop this a little bit more down. Let me see. So so it doesn't seem to go that high up, because I want to show that he's underneath that. Yeah, and then perhaps a little bit more of that shadow. Right here. Maybe a little too similar. Maybe I could put a little bit of transition here, and then maybe this could be a little bit more visible. This could go on the side, a little darker. And this could go right here. And he's going to show one hand from the just add a little bit more of that redness into his face to bring him forward. remember this guy. This is the menacing guy right there. He's slowly starting to. He's coming to life step by step. He has a slightly different posture, so I have to figure that out. But I guess it's going to work. Yeah, I think it's all right. Perhaps even if I have something behind him, and the position, I'm going to also put a stick in front of him, so there's no reason for me to, to add anything to his face anymore, because he's just going to be in that distance. So again, a silhouette is a key for me right now. A little bit of light right here, a little bit of light on the top of his head, and it should go even lighter and warmer. And I want that kind of an orangey warmth into it to contrast that. Yep, and maybe a little bit of here as it moves this way here. And also remember I had it on the shoulder a little bit. Right, so I have that volume going on there for him. Yeah, it's gonna work. Right now it's just a placeholder again, and then I'm gonna start developing this a little bit more, but I'm not sure yet if he is in the right position or not. I think he should be. Let's take the pointy stick right now and let me see if, like, what would be the, yeah, this is the direction. Okay. Cool, so a stick that he's holding, believe it or not, is here. It's going down and it's here. Okay, so I could actually create a little opening here with the shadow, and the hand is going to stick out from there. Like so. Maybe even more a little bit. Again, I just have to be careful not making it too symmetrical. So maybe I'll push the shadow a little bit more this way. And make this kind of straight this way. And then this way, and then make this kind of pop right here, so there is a change of the planes, there is a change of a plane as it goes up, and the back here, and it goes behind. Yep. And right now I can go and make this adjustment, because there is going to be a volume right here somewhere, and there's going to be his hand coming out from there. So I made it a little lighter value. And maybe then I could raise this up a little bit actually, so as it goes towards us. Let me see. So we could push his hand and have it right here. It's holding it, but it's in the shadow. Oh, not in the shadow, but it's dark because I don't want it to stick it out too much. And it goes in, right? And then another hand, it's right there. And then might be slightly lighter. Holding it here. Going this direction, right there. Maybe I could push this one a little higher. Here, this direction, and this one is going to go this direction. So we show that all his body is leaning towards us. Because he's going against that heel, so he needs to shift his weight a little bit more forward. That means that this could definitely go into a shadow. Let me just scrape it away a little bit. Where's my palette knife? Ah, right here. Yeah, way better. And then maybe even here, this could be this way, and then showing that it goes here, up, down, down, over, and down. Because of the hand sticking out. And then maybe half tone right here. And maybe that could be another. So it connects with this and disappears. There's a really, really harsh angle there between them. So I am going to soften this. So I won't be able to see where the back side of his is. So it's not such a harsh transition there. Right, and it needs to actually go like so. A little greener because it just happened to be in the back there. Because that's going away from us. Maybe it could go slightly lighter actually even. Right here. But the important part is that the transition here, it's really soft. And when I say transition, I mean his edge, outside edge, against, or his right side edge against this big figure, left side edge. So this all can go into a background. Because I don't need to see that. Because he's in the distance. He's behind him. So he's kind of emerges from the background. And then I can push lighter value up here. Maybe even slightly warmer. Because I think it's... And when I say warmer, I mean a little bit more saturation. So let me saturate it a little bit. So I have the transitions here. All right, and right now it looks like it's a little too high up, okay? So we need a blue for the river bank. And again, softening in that edge, because I'm not really interested in seeing exactly where the edge is. I just want to see a contrast there a little bit. Okay, and it has to go straight, and then I can maybe hit it a little bit with some kind of accent there. Let me see if I can do that. And then, you know, it's going to be a short break, commercial break. So that means that, again, for those of you who working alongside me on your project, it's the time to evaluate certain things, look from a distance, because it's starting to look overworked right now, and I know that, but it's okay. It's looking overworked because nothing else around that is actually being done, right? But if you look at the figures on the right side, and then you look figures on the left side, and then the figures on the right side, they all have something on them. I'm just not continuing. I'm going from developed part to semi-developed part to nothing, to something developed. That's why it looks overworked. So the moment I start then adjusting this according to this guy, then it just, I'm going to be immediately, oh, the hand needs to be done better, the book has to go, and then ultimately I'm going to go back and revisit the phase, right? So we're gonna have a break in 20 seconds. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna sit down for a second, look on something else, maybe outside of window, to refresh my eyes, and I'm gonna continue painting. So I'll see you in a second. The ad break, it should start right now, actually. Hopefully I timed it correctly. Or did I not? It's showing me that we have an ad in progress right now. But I don't know how true that is because of my internet connection. And I completely again destroyed my t-shirt because I spilled the tea on myself. That's just what are you gonna do? And since I don't have that kind of a strong direct light, right now the shadows looks like they're too dark. Which is no biggie. It needs to be addressed. Maybe I should add, maybe if his face is dark, maybe he could get a really, maybe he could get a lighter hands perhaps. And I'm thinking that might help. Is this a... Oh, I got scared that this is just the edge. Oh, it's still super wet. I should actually... I'm looking at this. I think I need... See, this is the edge. It needs to be covered. Those are these white spots. And they're there also because as I stretch the canvas, those are there because the tape that I actually taped there was not straight. Crazy. But this is not going to be visible because there's going to be overlap there with a frame. But still, it bothers me right now. These are just, again, those white I just, you can see this is one of my pet peeves here. You might think that it doesn't change that much, but it does. Visually, for some reason, I don't know, I just got so used to, and it's maybe because of that, really we're playing with the really small margins here already, so many elements and stuff that is happening. So it kind of, every little, every little nuance kind of bothers me at this point. That doesn't sit very well. And I don't want to, I really don't want to get back to these things, after the frame is there and I see like a little bit of, this might be a little restretched. Okay, that's fine. You can push it. And I think it's because it's kind of wonky right here because the pressure of the canvas is sitting on there right now. It's here and it's kind of pushing on that, and the sides are kind of drooping because of a sheer weight. You might be like, oh, wasn't it happening before as well? It was, but I wasn't painting all the way into bottom, so I couldn't see that. I actually, well, that makes sense right now. Because I measured the sides, and as it was squashed in the middle by the weight, I couldn't really see that very well. And I'm thinking, are we going to put another person right here? Would it be too much? Let me see. Like, instead of having him here, I want to put him here. A person right here, all the way in the back, down there. With that cross, holding that cross this way. His head should be definitely smaller though, so he would be like yay big. And let's see if that cross could be there. One that I planned here. So this guy is going to hold it. Or is it going to be it's too much. It's too much. It doesn't work there. Or it should be bigger. Or it should be lower. Yeah, it should probably be lower. Should probably be lower. But then I'm again not showing that this guy is behind this guy and this is in front of them. That's another one of those issues, because I don't have anything that kind of cutting them off from there. And then it almost seems then that the icons that I have in the background should be then smaller. That's the problem. Okay. They should go lower. Huh. And be smaller. It should be smaller. Yeah. The reason why is because if I have this big this way and it's this high and the figure is here, then I have another one, and let's say the figure is somewhere around here, right, lurking from behind. That means that if these are this small, like people should be somewhere here, and they're looking like they're above, so they should go lower, right? So it has to go smaller and it has to go lower. And that would also help the problem that these right now looks like they're on the same line, right? So if I push this lower, like here, it's still going to do the purpose, to moving this direction. Yeah, and making it smaller, but again, it has to be then significantly smaller than his head. Because right now, another problem that is that I'm repeating the same size right here, and it's kind of making it seem too similar. And I want to have actual difference there between them right now, because I want to separate them. I don't want to unify them, I want to separate them. Yeah, and then I have to start turning this painting upside down and start really nailing down these shapes. That they are just like very wonky, and I mean diagonals. But it's not such a big deal right now. I don't think that anyone except me is really thinking about that. As much as I do. But I'm gonna keep this. Should I move it right now? But I like that break there, because then I'm going to have. Oh, that's another problem. Okay, I see it right now. Okay. I mean, this is crazy. Another problem that I have is that since I moved these figures, I didn't even realize that, by the way. Where's my pointy stick? There it is. Since the figures were right here, well, a little lower, right here, till this way, and this was a dark shape. I pushed this one here, so it was kind of nicely separated. But right now, this shape right here is exactly the same size as this shape right here. They are opposite each other. So this probably needs to go a little bit more forward here and then cuts down into them. Or the other way around. Okay, all right. Now we're talking. That's why that looks such a separate shape. Okay. All right, all right. So I could push it a little bit more that way. Maybe like it's going. Maybe a little bit more here this way. Maybe it could go all the way through their portraits and up here. Like so. Oh yeah, that's way better. Because then I'm just gonna connect those shapes. Yeah. Then I have to be careful then so it doesn't go with the same shape as this is. Okay, I'll adjust this a little bit. I think it should be shorter. It should be, but a little bit, I mean, it should probably, the grass should go all the way here. It should cut in a little bit more. I just didn't want it to cut it into middle, and I think I'm just cutting it into middle right now, unfortunately. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. So let me just maybe see what's gonna happen. I don't know, it's just, let's have fun. Let's just throw a little bit of this into this, a little bit of this, to get something with it, and a little bit of blue, more white. Oh, that's too much. Okay. Then a little bit of black. It's going to desaturate that. Just a touch. Let's see if I'm mistaking or not. I don't, maybe I am, maybe not. But then right now it just repeats the other side. Okay. All right, I need to figure something out there. Maybe you could dip. Maybe it could be lighter. Yeah, so it is there, but it isn't. It goes from behind. Oh yeah, okay, that might actually work. Okay, so it would be something that goes front and then back. Okay. Get some of this, a little bit more, even more, and then blue, because it's a background. rid of this here, and then let me hit it with lighter pigment with a lot of saturation right here. To divide it a little bit. Yeah, it's going to be like it's another mountain there. Cool. It's repeating itself a little too much, but that's okay because I can fix that with a little bit of this. A little bit of this. Yep. And just a touch of that purple. Let me get a little bit more saturation there. Not everywhere, but just a little bit. So a little bit of that. Okay, right now we're connected through there, and then a little bit of this right here behind him. Maybe going all the way here. So they're incorporated there, and a little bit of that water right here. So the river, it's there as well. It needs to go a little darker, I think. That might be a little too much. Yeah, it's too much. Okay. Needs to go softer and lighter. Or maybe it shouldn't be here at all. Let me just get rid of it. And let's have this like a really soft edge right here, and then it should be maybe a little lighter behind him. So let's grab that. Purple, because purple in it's going to make that division nicely. Yeah, way better, way better. So now I have to make this a little darker, I think, right here, perhaps. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. So the river, it's visible there. Not as much. I'm trying to create like a softest edge that I possibly can, that it's still visible, but it's not distracting. And then, so then I can actually start working on top of it with, with highlights. And so I'm pushing it right now from what I was talking about, from that abstraction. I pushed it from the abstraction to a little bit more towards impressionism, and right now I'm returning back to abstract, so I can then again go into a little bit of that warmth going through, so I have that separation there. And then maybe hit it with a little bit of, I almost want to say baby blue, but it's like a really saturated blue, but only lightly, so it doesn't overpower anything. But I need a little bit of blueness in the skies here and there. So it breaks that, it just creates that randomness there. And this would be something that probably the best one to look into, it's Turner. So I'm just gonna go home today and check out on Master Turner and see what he has to say about this and how he approaches it, maybe a little bit here to get that connection. So you follow that line there, and then you have a dips, and then you have the diagonal, yeah, and it's starting to be a little bit more, it just needs to go lighter, believe it or not. This whole thing needs to go like 2 or 3 shades lighter, because it's just it's too dark. The transition between this and this is too much, which is cool, because then I can push the background even more into distance. Right. And then let's get a little bit of this as we go here. To change this maybe just a little bit to make it again slightly warmer there. It has a similar shape, but it's not going to be affecting this, and maybe a little bit of that baby blue. just to throw off that. And that's just, it looks wrong right now, but that's okay because I need to connect those blues there, okay? And then maybe a little bit here in the background. That would be kind of, that might kind of work. A little bit here. I just want it to disappear. I just want it to disappear. Same this. So it is there, but it isn't. Yeah, and maybe even through here. A little bit. So we're softening up a little bit, giving us that kind of a visual clues here and there, making it a little bit more attractive. Perhaps I could push a little bit more here right now, up, here, through there. Get rid of it a little bit. Yep, cool. And then perhaps, this is a big perhaps, but I want to see it before I leave today because it's getting late. Push it a little bit more here. But I might do it a little bit more through. To clean it up a little bit. Yeah, maybe even a little bit more. So that would be a lighter value here, and he's going to have a shadow on that side, so I can push it from up here towards there. Yeah, I think that might work. It looks too much right now, but trust me, this is really a thin paint. So it's just going to disappear in the background tomorrow. It's just going to be barely visible. It's just going to look like a very soft transition, hopefully. Because I'm trying to unify it, and you can start seeing that diagonal being really pushed right now. So, yeah. Yep. So it is there, but it isn't. Okay, what's next? Yeah, right, it looks too dark in the background, so it needs to go lighter, definitely lighter. All right, but that's cool because I can then dry brush on top of it, and it's just going to lighten up the area right there. That's cool. And I need to create, that's another problem, that this right now looks a little too much in the background because it does not have anything. It's a light. So then I'm gonna bring like a really vibrant pigment there on top of it. And when I say vibrant, let me maybe just give myself a taste of it, like how much I can push it. So I'll have this. Oh, that might be mad in this at this combination, but it's okay. It's going to be a cross of a St. Andrews. All right. Yeah, and then maybe I could push it even more with that idea of how is it supposed to look? I almost forgot. Trying to get that right. This way and that way. Okay. Yeah, okay, cool. So, and it needs more embellishment and stuff, but it's okay. This is going to work. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, I need to put the hands there. Because right now it looks like it should be behind him, not in front of him. Maybe I could make it even bigger. Let's see. Let me continue with him. A little bit more shadow there. Which is, remember I talked about this. It's that maybe a little too dark to, yeah, but that's okay. Tomorrow I can always push it back a little bit more. And then let me start working on those hands. So he could be holding it this way. Let me perhaps push it there a little bit. Maybe lighter and warmer. Let's go with this for now as a, and again, it's just way too much, but that's okay. I think I should, maybe what I should do to go a little bit more dirty. When it comes to these hands, because you know he's and then maybe put a lighter value here, since that is a might be a lit part of the there's a little bit of shadow there. A bit of a shadow here. think I'm making the shadow a little too dark, so I'm gonna soften it, lighten it. Maybe underneath the hand, right there. And we don't need to have, could actually push this a little darker, connect it together a little bit more. So again, so it's softer. He still looks a little too symmetrical though. Yeah, that bothers me a lot. Oof, it's not working. He's not working there. All right, plan B. What will be the plan B? Well, make a new shape. A little bit here. You could have a cross right there. Maybe you should not have the hand right there. Maybe that's just too much. Maybe I want to put necessary too much information there. So let me think of this. He could still hold that, but with one hand. I think that would be better if he's holding it with one hand. I give a little bit more of a... Plus, let me put it there. Let me make sure that I have that handle there. The handle is right here. Let me use a pointy stick for my measurement. And this is where it is. Oops. Yeah, it wants to be, it wants to go this way. I got it. Just tomorrow I'm going to touch it, and I'm just gonna have like pigment all over the studio. Right, see? That's what I was saying. I already have it all over my hands. So this one here is going to be held differently. He's going to have his arm slightly higher up. Right here. And it's going down right there. Because it's going through his face. And then here is going to be dark. Or actually here could be a light. And his face is going to be dark. So this is as it goes, right down here. This is where it is. This is where it is. Right now it looks like he has the 3 hands. That's pretty funny. Oh. So this has to go. And then just get a little bit of this darkness there. Into the mix. go a little bit more all the way here. And there can still be another person here. Let me see what happens if I attacked this with the green and just completely get rid of these. Because I think I can't, again, judge the shape properly. And then tomorrow, refine that edge and see if there's a possibility to have someone else here. I think it is. I think it could be actually, but really in that kind of a stage that I can barely see that person. Like just like a, you know, really small in the background kind of fella. But again, then I'm just creating the same thing. Oh my God, is this for real? I just made the smaller version, small and the smallest. That's crazy. How am I not seeing this? How am I not seeing this from the beginning? It's just crazy. It is really ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. I think I'm reaching a point of being successfully tired enough to make this work creatively. This is going to be annoying for me right now. It's going to bother me tremendously. I think there has to go person on the other side right here. So let me see if I can push it there. Right here could be a person. But he's going to hold this the same way, or maybe I could push him here. Or maybe it's just a little bit here. No, it needs to be a little bit more. It's going to be too much overlaps right now. Too many faces being, you know, a front of something and behind something and so on and so forth. But I think it needs to be done. problem is I exhausted the possibility of 2 figures, 3 figures, 5 figures, and I don't want to paint the 7 figures there. Huh. But I'm close. I know I'm close. It's just it needs a little bit more adjustment. Well, here's the thing. What if that's gonna be crazy? They're gonna be mad. Okay, I could push the banner behind him, which is cool. Therefore, I wouldn't have a problem with these figures. I could just put the shape behind them. I don't know. I have a crazy idea. I just don't want to even. I don't even want to say it. I don't even want to say it. That's how crazy it sounds. And there's going to be an ad break. So let me just think about that because this is going to be crazy. No, I cannot do that. That's just not going to fly. Wow. That simply won't fly. And okay, so ad break. So I'm just going to relax my eyes for a little bit. And again, put the brushes down. And again and again and again. I should probably stop using word again. Oops. That's gonna be so stupid. I'm just thinking if I do that, like that's just gonna be stupid, and I don't know if I have time to figure it out. Properly. But if I put those banners behind him, then there's not going to be a problem with the fact that they're smaller because it seems like, okay, there is a bunch of something behind him in the distance. So they could look like they're really high up, holding them high up. Yeah, yeah. Why am I trying to push it in front of him? He could be behind him. That's all good. It's all good. And one of these guys, they can actually hold that a light. Yeah, that's easy fix. Easy fix. So let me see if that's going to work. So I'll have this here, 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 here. And he's in front of that. Problem solved. Did I just spread pigment all over myself? Of course I did. Why am I so... I knew that when I touched that pointy stick and I placed it there, and it's right now all over my hand and fingers. I hope I didn't leave booby traps around here, the pigment. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it as it is right now because I'm not satisfied with that. But it's not like it's a problem. It's just I need to start. Let me just analyze it a little bit more. No, it works as a silhouette. It just needs to be figured out better. Okay. No, it's gonna work. It just needs to be. It needs to be done a little better, because right now it's all like it's mushy, it's together. I'm gonna leave it to dry a little bit. Tomorrow it's going to be. Yeah, let me close up today, because I have to go. I need to be out within half an hour from here, because then they're going to close the school. So yeah, I moved things around. I changed the background a lot, actually. I unified the main diagonal. I started to put more and more detail. Right now it's mushy. It's not really where I want it to be, but it works as a shape, interestingly enough. And maybe I could push this a little bit more. Let me just do one more adjustment real quick. A little bit more this way. And this can then overlap. I have to figure something out there. Perhaps maybe it could go behind. Maybe I could put the grass between them. Yeah, that might actually work. I don't know, there's multiple options what to do. I'm gonna leave it as it is right now. By Monday, it's going to settle down a little bit. It's going to, the pigments are going to start, some of them is going to sink in, some are going to stay alive, and it's just going to move. And then from that randomness, I'm just going to start again rearranging these shapes a little bit, or shapes within the silhouette, so they're going to start working a little better. I think that there might be a bunch of people behind him here to create that feeling that is going to up. So maybe let me just push that a little bit, because I also feel that I am overworking this. I'm forcing it, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I think that it's because I'm really tired today. I think that I exhausted myself a little bit. So it would be a face right here, and then another portrait right here, perhaps. So there is that progression that it's going up, forward towards them. And he might be holding something in his hand as well. Looking maybe right here, from here, maybe someone even here, all the way in the bottom. I don't know. There's something that something needs to be done there, so I have a progression. and it's moving, and it makes sense why it's still something darker here, because I need something dark here. And then something a little greener right here. So maybe there could be another person, because this cannot be dark. This has to be lighter as it goes into a distance. Yeah, so maybe there could be another person behind him. Maybe also holding something. So there would be a portrait right here. Might be a little too low, and maybe there could be someone behind here to show that other side as well. Which would give me a little bit more of that darkness here that I need. Connect them a little bit. Because right now he looks overworked. A little too much. Yeah. A little bit more there. And I have to find a beautiful silhouette for him as well. So that's what's going to determine whether this works or not. The silhouette. This silhouette needs to be just perfect in order for this to work. And when I say just perfect, I mean, you know, as close to being good as possible. Maybe pushing him even more, a little higher up, just a tiny bit, and making him a little smaller. That portrait, I mean, this guy right here, so he appears that he's really lower back. Right there. It means that this could be a little bit more. So I'm gonna deal with that later on, because I'm just going back and forth, and I'm not sure if it's working right now. Yeah, it's good. I just the problem is that I felt that I have right now this and this are the same thing, so I have to change that. That's okay. Right now this could go all the way down here, right? Somewhere here. And this doesn't even need to show anything here. It can just disappear into a background because it's behind him. It's all happening behind him. Therefore, I can just really do whatever I want with that silhouette, because there's going to be something that he's overlapping, not just being an, okay, cool. So that might actually work. That might help. I need to make that shape a little better, a little bit more pleasing. But that's I'm up for that challenge, because I like to do, I like to do these adjustments. It could be here a little bit more, going this way. I'm trying to make it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. A bit more in, and then this could go actually out inside here. And I could bring this shadow here, this shadow here, this one inside a little bit more. Need to go darker, a little bit more purple. I know I said that I'm done, I'm finished, but I'm in the middle of a thought, and I want to okay, and then let's push this a little bit. So there's going to be a shoulder. Let's make this slightly lighter, so he stands out a little bit, just a touch. Because then I'm gonna be painting over it, so that's it's okay, maybe a little more. This is a very, very problematic part, and I think I have to do a little bit more research on this, how to, because there is his shoulder here, and I want to show that shoulder, I want to show that back of the head, so maybe I could push him slightly lighter here as he's being lit. Okay, maybe he should go lighter. Yeah, he's too dark. Cool. So let's push him lighter a little bit. Yep. From this side, I don't know, he's lit weirdly because I'm, again, you know, okay, so I'm making him a little lighter. Okay. Yeah, that's what was the problem. He was a little too dark. Cool. Cool, then maybe I could push this a little bit more to make it the randomness of his shape. Yep, his head is too big. That's okay, because I can always make it smaller, and I have to adjust it with shape. So let me adjust the shape. So it would be here, down here, here, this way. And this is the top part. It's going round here and down there. Right? And then I have a dark area right here because it's in the shadow, going down this way. So this needs to be lighter on the other side. This area right here needs to be lighter. All the way here needs to be lighter. Okay. Right. This. And then I could also introduce the darker, more saturated value here. That would represent almost like a shadow, but it's not going to be a shadow. It's just going to be something darker in the value that could, you know, it's a shadow, it's a half tone, who knows? Who cares, right? And then I could throw it a little bit more here and here. And this is head. Right, and then I could then start adding a little bit more, or rather I need to push it a little bit more. It needs a little bit more of that angle. Kind of a dynamic angle. But okay, I'm heading to some direction right now. All right, let me stop right here because I really have to go. At least I got some ideas back to this. There need to be, yeah. No, he's good. He's good. He's in the right spot. He just needs to have a better shape. That's okay. Because at least I know right now I see that it's going to work. And again, it's going to depend on the fact how I put you see, like this is what bothers me right now, that the more I'm pushing this guy, this is starting to bother me. So this right needs to be addressed. So that's going to be a really something to think about. Something to think about over the week, over the Sunday, and then Monday I'm just going to come here refreshed. I'm going to look at it, assess, move. It's going to go back and forth. So it's going to be, it's fine. We're good. I'm not really satisfied, but that's okay. It's not always that I can end up on the positive note, but it's starting to work really nicely. I have dark, I have light. I adjusted these shapes. Another thing that needs to be adjusted, I will have to cut this a little bit more this way, right here. And then I'm thinking that I'll just move this direction. Perhaps I could place something that's overlapping this in front. Maybe, I'm really not sure, maybe like I don't want to say stone, but kind of a stony landmark there, something like that, because it really bothers me there right now. And it bothers me because it's just so symmetrical, and it's destroying that diagonal. So I have to push the diagonal a little bit more. Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is where I'm going to stop right now. It was really, really long day. Not necessarily that I would be tired, but I depleted all the creativity from my brain. And right now I'm just trying to fill the gaps and forcing them. I'm going to relax over the weekend. I'm probably going to go to museum and check out check out Rembrandt, how he dealt in this situation, and also another painters, Rubens, Van Dyck, and so on and so forth. Perhaps I should go, maybe even better, I should go and see a little bit later, or a little bit more modern art. It's not modern, it's later. It's a Impressionism, like the 19th century. So that would be, a little bit more brushwork, how they kind of let things go. Because when I'm looking at the Rembrandt work with the fact that he's putting things into darkness, I have a slightly different problem. I have to put them into light. And that's where the Impressionists really, really shine. So, that's where I should go. Leviathan would be probably something that I should look into, and a lot of these beautiful impressionistic landscape painters, because that's what I have to figure it out. I have to work with the landscape, and I'm starting to think about this figure as a human being, and he should be landscape. He should be in the background, same as this guy, same as this is. These are figures. These two are figures. Those are figures. But he should be landscape because he's in the distance. And I'm kind of overworking it. So I'm going to rest my eyes, rest my mind from this, and then start from the scratch, from the abstract on Monday. So I hope to see you here on Monday. And I hope that you are putting the time into your artwork. Because you can see that how much reworking and readjustment and changing the designs and little small thing, leads to another that shows me something else, something missing. It's really, really like a big puzzle, like a big mosaic there. You're trying to fit these shapes and pieces into a nice, pleasing, harmonious image. And if I move a little piece on one side, it's going to affect the whole structure. So it has to have a sound really nice, really solid foundation, and that's what the composition is. And then I can start designing things again on top of it. I maybe pushed a little bit more details that I wanted to today, but that's okay. It showed me how much more work I have there, and that's the important part. Like without all these, um, you know, you might, I would call them stupid adjustments right now, and it's stupid because maybe they were rushed, they were not properly assessed, but they showed me at least these little small imperfections in composition that it's so important, right? And I'm trying to create that composition as a whole. And unless that's going to work, nothing is going to work. And I'm going to repeat this till, till my mouth fall off. It's just, it's what it is for me. It's what makes a good painting. It's that composition, no matter how much detail I'll put into it. It's actually making it even worse. Those details actually show mistakes in the movement and the flow of a composition. It was described to me with a professional ballet dancer teacher, and she mentioned that that's what you know how ballerinas, they have that skirt, and I talked about this multiple times during the streams, how the ballerinas have that skirt around them. I think it's, well, I don't remember what the name is. It doesn't really matter. Everybody knows the ballerinas with the skirt. You probably seen ballerinas at least once in the TV, and they don't actually practice, or actually they don't, at the beginning they don't put it there, even for exhibitions or for the. Let me rephrase this. The reason why they have that special skirt there, it's because it's accentuating. Yes, that would be probably the word that I'm looking for. It's just enhancing the beautiful motion, right? So when they move, the angles are really beautiful and pronounced. If you move properly, right? And she explained that because it was a class, part of the art education is also dance and so on and so forth. So she explained to us that if you don't have a proper position for your body and hips, and it's not aligned perfectly for ballerinas, it's just going to show on that skirt. So it works only if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, it's actually going to accentuate or enhance your mistakes. That's exactly what's happening. What I saw right now with the composition. The moment I started to put details there and they were not designed properly, it suddenly fall apart. Not completely, but it lost that kind of a. I think it looks boring. That's what I'm trying to say. I think it looks boring, and the boringness, it's being, I'm with the detail, I'm bringing your attention to a boring part of a composition, which they're not fitting together, and I have to find that combination. I have to fit them together. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And that's what I'm going to be focusing on over the weekend. And that's something that I would like you think of. I would like you to think as well. It's that what it is that can improve the composition, what can improve that visual clarity, and what can improve that visual experience that you want to share with the viewer. Because that's ultimately what I'm trying to do here. That's my goal. That's what painting is for me. So, yeah. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here with me on this journey. I hope that you're really painting alongside me, because that's the only way how to really get the full value of the creative discourse that we created here together as a group. So hopefully you'll join me to this creative discourse on Monday, and I hope that I'm going to be here, that internet connection is going to work for me, not against me. So I hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye.